Peace. Peace and wisdom. It's the wise one here, Mr. Solace. And today I want to do this very deep video for you guys, breaking down some sacred knowledge from man's beginnings. I want y'all to grasp from man's beginnings. See, we reach for the past in order to get clarity on certain things in life. But we don't understand that the past that we reach for, in comparison to the amount of time Earth has been populated with men, we don't realize that the past that we reach for is truly like our times. So it's a deep thing, but you have to go back to the beginnings of man to truly grasp things. Now, in man's beginnings, there was a sacred knowledge, and it was held sacred by a brotherhood, or what we would call a secret society in today, but this was the first. And you know, secret societies of today, they have many secrets, but their secrets are theirs. It's a matter of their sins against the life in their deep dark secrets. But this brotherhood, or this first secret society in man's beginnings, their secrets were a matter of knowledge of life, the knowledge that life bestowed within a man, because there's a lot of knowledge that's within us, and secrets of life that lie within us. And you know, the brotherhood, let's just say their names were the Shadows of Light. And like I said, this was the first brotherhood, and they kept certain knowledge that life put within us. They kept this sacred in its pure form, because you know, as knowledge begins to get pushed out, it begins to get slowly altered. So you know, it has to be kept pure some kind of way. So the brotherhood, they kept it pure in its pure form. Because men learn a lot of things in life, but they don't learn the instruction with it, so to say. So we learn things in life, but we don't learn the detriment that comes with it. So the things we know and learn in life, we only know that part. It's like we learn things without the instruction. And this is because wisdom and knowledge is exploited over time. So a man will tell you how to kill a person before he actually show you a dead body and the emotion and what goes with killing, and you know, the nightmares and horrors. These things are not shown, but you know, guns are put in young men's hands and they're shown how to shoot, but they're not shown the instruction of the flip side of things, so to say. So this is what I mean by keeping knowledge sacred once it becomes exploited. And you had the Shadows of Light, the first secret society, or brotherhood, and they kept the knowledge sacred, and they still exist today, keeping many different wisdoms, so to say, sacred and hidden away from man. But today I want to reveal one of the truths that's held secret, because I believe all truths must be revealed. Now I know many of y'all will say, how do you know about man's beginnings? How do you know about this? Well, I'm not you. You're you, I'm me, and it's a simple thing in life. We got to stop asking simple-minded questions. Like y'all are a part of the things y'all are a part of. And so I come from the same life y'all come from. and I was a part of things. But one must become his own. So it's a simple thing. But questions on how I know what I know is not important. What's important is that you grasp. It's a simple thing. Now, I want to break down this knowledge. And it's a deep thing. The first thing I want to say is sex is a satanic ritual. It's a very deep thing. So this is the first thing I need y'all to grasp. Sex is an actual ritual. And you can classify it, being as though we have God and Satan in our times, and this is how we perceive things. You can classify sex, the ritual that it is, you can classify it in the satanic category. Now, I know many of you will say, no, sex is not a satanic ritual. It's how we reproduce. It's how we keep life going. It's a reproducing thing, Solace. But I want y'all to grasp this. What came first? Sex or child? So that's my point. You can't say no. Sex is about reproducing. Before men reproduced, they were just indulging into the desires of sex. And it's a deep thing in man's early beginnings. They knew all there was to know about the sacred knowledge of sex. And it's a deep thing because the knowledge is so exploited now that a child knows sex before they even indulge. And this is why the deep levels of it is not grasped. It's like a person killing, and then you explain to them after, oh, if you kill, it's a sin against yourself, and you break it down, and then they like, I don't care to even grasp that now. Like, you should have told me already. So this is how sex is in today's times. It's a deep thing, but this video I want to break down to you guys is very deep. Now, the sacred knowledge that the brotherhood kept sacred was the orgasm. And I know many of you would say, what's so sacred about the orgasm? The orgasm is the most sacred knowledge hidden within yourself. So it's like I said, life puts so much wisdom and secret hidden knowledge within us. And the orgasm is one of those knowledges. Now you have to truly grasp, a man would never know that he orgasms unless he was shown. I want all men out there and women, think on that. You have boys. Now boys in today's times, they know about sex before they indulge. But boys get hard penises. And they don't think to jerk off or have sex or anything like that. They just want it to go down. It's uncomfortable. So we were all boys. When your penis got hard, depending on what age you are, because the young boys now, like I said, they know about sex before they even indulge. So they'll mimic it. But we all know until you orgasm, sex would just be painful to a boy. I want all men to think, if you didn't orgasm, the sex ain't that comfortable. It's not that good of a thing. You know, that build up for nothing to happen is not comfortable. But my point of saying that is men would never know. Just imagine if you have a son. He would never know if he keep pulling on his thing that eventually he'd get this feeling. And this juices within himself would come out. A man would not know this unless he's shown this. Men eventually have wet dreams where they orgasm, but they wake up wet. They still don't know. Oh, I have to pull on this thing, and then it will eventually. So I'm just giving you a perspective. If a man is never shown, he would never have no clue that there's a knowledge that life bestowed within him called an orgasm. And with this orgasm, you can bring forth what is known as spirits or energy, the same energy that lies within you. You can bring that forth and it will come forth in physical the same way you do. So we don't look at orgasm in that way, but it's a deep, deep sacred knowledge. I want you to go back to man's beginnings in your mind. Before man knew of sex, before man knew of orgasm, how deep that is. Within you lies juice of life, but it is spirits that will manifest into this world that you live in. And we call them children. But this is before men had sex, so they don't even know what children is. So when you're explaining it to them, they like, oh, okay. But I say all of that so you can grasp that men must be shown this to truly grasp. Oh, I like that. This is where it becomes exploited because men go tell, oh, look what you can do. But they don't break down the knowledge that goes with it and what that is. And that's what I'm going to break down in this video. It's very deep. But the first thing I want to do is take y'all to the beginnings of man, the creation of man, because we struggle with that as well. And this is a part of that divine sacred knowledge that the brotherhood holds. It's like I said. Now, in men's beginnings, we all wonder, how was man created? I don't understand. Well, it's simple. All life that you see was created by life that predated it. Grasp. Now, I don't mean by having sex, but I mean made, like, what is that called that we do with the animals, with the livestock? I forgot, it slipped my mind. When you not agriculture, but when you what is that word where you mix breed the animals, like how we get sheep? That word slipped my mind. Domesticate. All life that you see is a matter of domestication. So one life form gets wise, and they make another life form, domesticated for whatever purposes they may need. So you know this is truth because you see this in today times. All the different variety of animals we have, they are domesticated. So we have dogs, cats, sheep, mules. So all life is domesticated. I know that may be hard for you to grasp, but it's so simple. We domesticate life. Eventually, we will domesticate another human-like being, meaning we will mix our DNA with a bird, let's say, and make a different kind of man, but similar to us, and we will be the forefathers or creators of that species, just like we are the creators of many species we have here today, like sheep. We domesticated it. Different breeds of pit bulls. We made that. We domesticated that from other life forms that were here. And the other life forms that were here were domesticated as well by what predated them. So man, as you see today, was domesticated just like any other life. That's not to say that you're a fake life, but you're a life that doesn't necessarily go together. So eggs reproduce, chickens reproduce chickens. Gorillas reproduce gorillas. and zebra reproduce zebras. Now the life will give you a few examples, and you take it from there. So now man has to crossbreed to get more variety. And this is a matter of the wisdom he acquires. Like I said, life gives you a few examples. So life gives you the life forms you have here, and then you domesticate them and make the life to your desiring. But know what you do. So in man's beginnings, man was created, domesticated. So all planets, all places that hold life, as y'all would say, aliens. It's the same with land or places in the cosmos, whatever you want to call it. Men go out and then they domesticate the land, so to say. Make it smooth and habitable. And it's the same with planets or any other thing. So Earth wasn't always habitable, but man came and, laid the ground flat and altered the earth to its liking. But it's all a matter of wisdom. And all planets are the same. They're all for living or habiting, but you have to fix it. The same way we do with land. If you go to the forest and you say, oh, I want to make a new community here. Well, you have to dig up into the ground and get a foundation and, alter that space. Make it habitable. So it's the same with everything. So everything is a matter of domestication or reproduction. Now, you can reproduce with what you can reproduce with, but the things you can't, you have to domesticate them. So this is how man was created. Now, man was created for whatever purposes. Like I said, we domesticate things for whatever reasons. It's never really good reasons, but it's for whatever selfish reasons. We domesticate sheep for the wool. Milk and whatever else. Lamb meat, whatever else. Like I said, it's never a good reason, but man was made for whatever purposes. And man wasn't made to reproduce. So man was made like a mule, you can say. And a donkey and a horse domesticated together, you get a mule, but the mule can't reproduce, but that's okay because you can just keep domesticating horses and zebras. So men were the same way. You just keep domesticating men. You don't have to necessarily let them reproduce. So when men were first created, all you had were men. You didn't have any female. Because like I said, the life domesticates the life for whatever selfish, goofy purposes. So more than likely, being as though we're slaves today, you can kind of grasp men were domesticated or created for some sort of work. We need an intelligent being, just something similar to us, that we can just make do our work. So I say that because what do we do today? So this is my point. Now, all you had were males. First thing domesticated, just males. And males were continuously domesticated, being as though they don't reproduce. So men knew nothing of sex, anything like this. Then eventually a woman was created for man. Opposite half. So you figure those that domesticated man, eventually they said, yo, let's just let them reproduce on their own. Now, of course, at first, when you domesticate a thing, you don't give it the powers to reproduce on its own, because then it will overpopulate and you can't keep track of it. So when we first begin to domesticate sheep and horses and different animals, none of them were made to reproduce at first. We just made them because you want to keep track of what you're making. Once you give it the abilities to reproduce, it's a wrap. You're not going to be able to keep track of it. it's gonna just overpopulate. So it's a deep thing. But eventually, men were given the abilities to reproduce, which is normal in the life. So them not being able to reproduce, this was kept from them. But eventually, just let them reproduce. Let them have the place to themselves and be equal to us. So then, woman is made from man. No different than how he was made. So I don't want y'all to think a woman was made the same way man was made. So man was made by whatever man predated him. And they mixed their genetics with whatever animals was here. And this is what you call like domesticating. And they made a man, which would have been us. And when they made the female, they didn't make the female the same way as they made the man, but they just let the man have sex with one of the women of theirs, if you can grasp what I'm saying. Those that domesticated man, well, they just let man have sex with the woman, half of themselves. And this is how the woman was brought about. The birth from the woman that domesticated the men, if you can grasp what I'm saying. So this is why it say rib, meaning like, sperm. So it's a deep thing. Now the woman is brought forth, and before the woman is brought forth, man is taught about, well, man isn't taught about sex then, because man didn't have sex, but semen was taken from the man and put into those that created or domesticated man, put into the woman, and she gave birth to the woman that would belong to us. And this is how men begin to learn sex and reproducing. But it's a deep thing, because there was a time where men and women just lived together, so to say. And then eventually, they were taught sex and the sacred knowledge of the orgasm. Because at this point, they're not reproducing. So you know what that means. They're not reproducing and they're not being domesticated anymore. So, man is almost about to go extinct, you can say. So, those that domesticated man say it's better to just let them live. Show them the way of how to continue themselves, but not overpopulate and get it to the point where the existence becomes a hell. The more people you have, this is personality, this is energy. So you have to grasp. You won't have clashes the more you have. And so they sit man down and woman down and explain to them the divine sacred knowledge of the orgasm, and how within them they hold the power to bring forth themselves naturally. And it's a deep thing. They were taught this. They were explained basically. They were basically explained how they were brought here. Because, men gonna always have that question, well, how did we get here? And this place is bad and it's hard. It's a harsh place and we die. And so they begin to get the wisdom and knowledge of the orgasm in hell, or what we would call hell today, which is the death. Because now reproducing, physical things die. So it's a deep thing I want you to grasp. Now, before reproducing, when man dies, it's no connection. Grasp. I have no attachment to you because we didn't come from womb, the same womb. You was just domesticated. I was domesticated, and we all just be here, but there's no real connection. Until reproducing, then you like, that's mine. That's mine. So up until this point, no one had children. No one had that attachment to the next person like they're mine. But man was sat down with woman and taught the divine knowledge of the orgasm and how to bring forth spirits into hell and the whole understandings of this place and how life works. And it's a deep thing because in the beginnings, only good men were taught this knowledge. So all men weren't taught this. Just certain men, the good ones, because they looked at it like good stock bring forth good fruit. A good tree will bring forth good fruit. A bad tree will bring forth bad fruit. So you find the good men that have morality amongst them. And you teach them and keep it separate from the rest. And y'all reproduce in. So it's a deep thing. Men were taught. But eventually, men like to show what they know. Look what I can do. And, so eventually men learn sex from other men, but they don't learn it in its divine nature, truly explaining the hell and the whole nature of everything. So they don't get it in its true form. They don't get it in the detriment. So, you bring forth a child. You reproduce. You like, I feel great now. I'm like God almost. So this is their perspective, but they don't understand that the child is now their burden. And now the child will grow up and experience grief and pain and heartbreak because this is what life is, and death. And now the parent has worry that they didn't have before. Grasp, both parents know what I'm talking about. Now you got to worry you didn't have before. And your child's grief and pain becomes yours. Now you already got your own grief and your own pain, but now it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled depending on how many kids you have. But these things are not taught to man when man is teaching other man. Hey, look what I can do. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. And then I was checking the time. And then, men begin to just indulge into the sacred knowledge of sex and the orgasms, but without understanding that they are bringing spirits into hell. If you lost on spirits, the divine energy that is within us all, who we truly are within the body, you are bringing that forth into this physical, fleshly existence. And this is the hell, like I explained. And man wasn't explained like that when he was being taught by other men. He's just shown, look, I can have sex. And men become perverse. So they have sex with more than just who they were set up with to do this with. And the knowledge of sex becomes so exploited. The whole understandings of the existence and all these different things get lost. And it's a deep thing. Then men begin to ask, where is hell? And it's a deep thing because this is when men begin to understand, or men was taught the understandings of this existence that we live in, which is physical hell. And I want y'all to grasp. Man asks, where's hell? You say we live in hell or death. Well, where is this place? And I know a lot of y'all like, I want to know where hell is my goddamn self. Well, grasp, I'm going to tell you. And this is the first time this has ever been done on YouTube or anywhere. But I'm going to tell you physically exactly where hell is. Now, grasp. The gateway to hell, and this is how men were told in their beginnings. The gateway to hell, which is the death, is the vagina. And this is the way to the physical life. The only way to the physical life. So when I say that's the gateway to hell, there should be no confusion in your mind because there's no other way men come into the physical life. So grasp. That is the gateway. There's no other gateway into life. If you know of one, tell me. Hell is a part of life as we know it in the doctrine we have today, which is altered. But you know hell is a part of life or a realm of life. And the gateway is the vagina. Now, when you get into the vagina, you get to the Baphomet, which is the entity within the hell. So grasp, the vagina is the gateway into hell. Once you get into hell, you get to the uterus. So that description or artwork that you see that we call the Baphomet, this is just what the uterus looks like. And it was its own entity. It was the entity of the hell. So grasp, it was the guardian of the lake of fire. So when you see the description of the Baphomet, that is the uterus within a woman. Pull up an image of the uterus and then pull up an image of the Baphomet head. So that's what that is. The vagina is the gateway into hell. And when you get in hell, you will come across the guardian of the lake of fire, which is the Baphomet, or the uterus. And then men say, what's the lake of fire? The egg cell, the physical body, the death. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Here's an image. Of a vagina, the gateway to hell. And this is an image of a physical place that they are calling the gateway to hell in today's times. This is a physical place somewhere on earth, and this is a vagina. And I want you to look closely. That's the gateway into hell. You pull up a picture of the uterus so you can get a clear view. This is another picture of the vagina and the hell. The physical hell that they say is. But I want you to grasp. Then you have the lake of fire. So you have the gateway to hell, which is the vagina. And you have the guardian of the lake of fire, which is the uterus or the Baphomet. And it's its own entity within hell. So they view the Baphomet or the uterus as its own entity within the hell. The vagina was the entry or the gate to it, and the uterus was the guardian of the lake of fire. Its own entity that guarded the lake of fire. And the lake of fire was a place in hell. And the entity, which is the uterus, was the guardian over the lake of fire. And the lake of fire was the egg cell. So grasp, lake of fire, or lake of blood, or death. You come into the physical. And then you have to die, or what we call dying. So it's a deep thing. And you experience rotting away. And it's cold-blooded. I want y'all to truly grasp. That's what that was. You had the lake of fire, which was the exhale, and then the hell was the woman. Now, in ancient Kim, they had the 4 baboon that guarded the lake of fire, which was the exhale. But you know, they broke it down deep. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. This is Dante Inferno's image or depiction of hell. And you know, the entry of a woman's vagina is small, but it gets big, baby. And is deep. The woman, her physical body, she was the keeper, the owner of hell. And there's many hells. So you have to grasp the gateway to hell was the vagina. The guardian within hell was the uterus. And this was the guardian of the lake of fire, which is the egg cell that's within the uterus. And the woman, her body is where all of this transpires. And this was the hell. I mean, her body, she was the hell. So it's like in Norse mythology, you have the realm, Helheim, and Hel is the goddess of it. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Hel is that's her name. She's the goddess of Helheim. So in all ancient early man's beginnings, it's like I said, this knowledge was sacred. And it was the teachings of how the orgasm or the sacred knowledge of life lied within, and how a woman was the hell. And this is how the spirits came into the physical, or well, released into hell. So it's like the Neteru in ancient Kim, in the four baboon. The four baboon guard the lake of fire. Now, in ancient Kemetic, you have the Neteru. Adam, Shu, Tefnut, Yeb. Adam, Shu, Tefnut, Nut, Yeb, Orsar, or Set, and Nephthys. But it's deep, because if you go backwards, you can grasp what I said. See, Nephthys is the lady of the house. She is the keeper of that whole death realm, what we would call hell or death. She's the body, the woman. Nephthys is the keeper of the house. A house, a temple. This is the body. So y'all have to grasp. Ancient Kim was simple and deep at the same time. So Nephthys was the lady of the house, or the physical body. Like I said, the woman is the hell. Nephthys is the woman. So you have to grasp. Then you have Set. Now Set is the spirit within a woman. So everybody, whether woman or man, is a sperm cell that got an egg cell or a body. Now a woman's body is the hell. Grasp. A man's body holds the spirits, the life. And a woman's body holds the death, the hell, the egg cell, the blood. So grasp, it was a deep thing. Now Nephthys was the lady of the house, the body. Set was the spirit of the woman, the dark spirit of the woman. Because everybody you see got a spirit, or they're a sperm cell within their egg cell. So Nephthys was the physical woman. Set was the dark spirit within the woman, because the woman was viewed as the hell, the death, physically. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Now a Set, everything I'm naming is within the woman. A Set, or Isis, this is the egg cell in the body, the lake of fire. Asar, or Osar, Osiris, this is the spirit or the sperm cell that falls into the lake and resurrects into the physical life or the hell. So this is why Osar is the imperishable. So it's deep. Then Geb is the father, the keeper of the spirits, or the sperm, or the seed. It's the penis. So it's a simple thing you have to grasp. Then you have Nut, the sky, or all the space within a woman, the space around the uterus. So you can view Set as the Baphomet. And Nut is all the space with, like when you look up at the sky, you see the stars, and then there's the space that holds everything. We are all here within this space Nut would be the space that holds all of this that I just broke down. The womb, the sky, you can say, but more than that, the space that holds the spirits, everything. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. Then you have Atom, Shu, and Tefnut. And this is basically just the proton, the electron, and the atom. So, and this is where all of this comes from. Sperm cells, organisms, stars, every piece of life, physical life you got, it starts with the atom. So this is what ancient Kemetic was breaking down with the Neteru. This was the ancient sacred knowledge. And they probably had a sect of the shadows of light. That brotherhood was probably still there at a time. And you know, a lot of that stuff that's written and carved on them walls is breaking down that kind of stuff, the divine knowledge that the body naturally holds already. Like I said, it's so much knowledge within us that we don't even know about. And an orgasm is the perfect example. This knowledge was deep and sacred, and it was written in all cultures of the life. So even if you go to like Hinduism or the Far East lands, they had the Kundalini. And this was breaking down the sacred knowledge of the orgasm. And how the spirit energy within uncoils at the base of the spine. And we have it today times, it uncoils and go into your brain and you becoming, your third eye awakens, and this is all wrong. The Kundalini was breaking down what I just explained, the sacred knowledge of the orgasm, and sex, and the hell. And the Kundalini was basically breaking that down, but that was the Far East Brotherhood's way of explaining it, I guess. And the sacred energy within uncoils at the base of the spine, uncoiling into the penis, making it erect. And you know, a man is taught, if you do the motion or the sacred dance with a woman's vagina or with your hand or whatever, you can release the spirits that you hold within. You are like Gab, you can say, in a sense. If this is ancient Chem, you can say you are like Gab, the holder of the spirits. And you drop them into hell, a woman's vagina. They enter the gates, and so they begin their journey of death. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. See, them sperm cells we release into a woman, it comes back, manifests back as a living person. So you know it's spirits. When I say the sperm is the spirits, this is how you know. The man is the holder, keeper of the spirits. He is Gab. And a woman, you can say, is Nephthys. Her womb, or the space within. Nephthys is the physical exterior, the body. And you can say Nut is all the space within. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. But even in ancient Far East with the Kundalini, it was explaining this sacred knowledge. And it's a very deep thing. Now I want to go a little deeper, but I don't have enough time, so I'm going to have to do a part 2. But I want to go into why is sex satanic ritual, and go into that part now and break down some very deep things, because you know this knowledge is not, you know, a 40-minute, an hour video, but it's a step-by-step detail, truly breaking down everything. I'm just giving you as much as I can for you to grasp, but it's very deep. It's very important. When we have sex, we don't realize what we are doing, because this knowledge was, like I said, we learn sex before we even have sex or truly grasp. The knowledge is so exploited at this point in time in life that is deep. But this is why sex was so sacred, and it was a sacred knowledge that everybody didn't have at one point in time. I know you like, man, everybody know how to have sex now, but there was a time in man's beginnings, it was so deep. I hope this video resonated with a lot of y'all, and answered a lot of questions y'all may have had on other topics. Because the knowledge I give, you know, if you apply it and just grasp it, it can answer other things that you may have had questions on. But I'm going to continue this video. And just look for the part 2 of it. It's going to be called Why is Sex Satanic? And I'm going to finish this video up in that part and just break down a little more so we can fully grasp. But I don't want women to feel like, oh, this is not right, we hell. But it's all a physical, spiritual thing. So you have to grasp everybody's spirit.